afternoon and welcome to Virtual Day Trip to Wine Country. I'm Sam Kimball from New York Wine Events. It is Friday, May 1st, first day of May, and we want to end the week with wine and wine tasting and a winery tour. Today, it's going to be fun. We are going east. We're heading east to the North Fork of Long Island, home to 50 plus wineries. A great climate for growing grapes, a maritime climate, and we are looking forward to a great visit today at a wonderful winery that makes great wine, and that whole region is surrounded by three sides of water, so you're getting that amazing climate for grape growing and winemaking. We're actually heading to the town of Southold, New York, which is the state of New York's oldest town, established in 1640. That's that's only about 20 years after the Mayflower. And we're going to Matabella Vineyards, a small family farm where they do things the old-fashioned way. So it's perfect that they're in Southold. They do things by hand. It's an artisanal winery. And in our virtual tasting series, this is actually our furthest trip to the east. So we're really excited. Matabella is dedicated and really focused on making wines that are really high quality, that pair great with a wide variety of food. They're committed to a cleaner, healthier, sustainable, environmentally friendly method of farming. And those practices are combined with handcrafted winemaking that allow them to consistently produce wines that are exceptional and that reflect the terroir, or the land that the grapes and the grapevines are grown on. To learn all about Mattebella Vineyards, you can visit matabella.com. That's Mattebella, matabella.com. These guys do authentic, amazing, small experiences at their winery. They're unique on the North Fork in that regard. They've got rose gardens and fig gardens. And so when we're not on quarantine and lockdown and you can visit, going there is an extremely wonderful experience. As always, during the broadcast, if you have questions during our session and tasting, please put them in the chat module in Zoom and we will tackle them in the latter part of the talk. So I should last but not least mention that we have worked with Matabella Vineyards over the years. They've been at some of our events. We know them, we love them, and we're fans of the vineyard and their wines. So without further ado, it's a true pleasure and privilege to host an amazing and really great guy, the winemaker and founder of Matabella Vineyards, Mark Tobin. Welcome, Mark.
Well, thank you so much, Sam. Greetings from our family at Matabella Vineyards on the NOFO. We see it as a privilege to be here with you, Sam. We get a lot. We're on the negative column on free time, and we get a lot of offers from a lot of different people. We're flattered, but I mean, you just gotta pick what you can do. So we choose to align ourselves with people that are not elitist, but rather genuine in their interest and have knowledge and get the right spirit about it, where we're learning from each other. Take it seriously, but not in an elitist fashion. That's you. You know, at the time, you can just tell by the questions you ask on your events and the focus to detail that you get involved in. That shows that matters. That's the difference. So, you know, we don't typically allow buses and tours in our vineyard because we maintain and protect an experience to distinguish ourselves. That's very, very special that my wife creates. But we let you in. And we know we planned for it, and it's ready when your peeps are here. So, anyway, again, awesome. It's a privilege, and thanks for having us. I hope everybody has a good time.
Well, we're gonna put you through your paces. This might not be the toughest set of questions that you encounter, but we're gonna keep it real, and we're gonna get to learn as much as we can about the winery. Thank you for the kind words. As people who are in our audience know, we are all about discovering wine and learning about wine. So I hope that we do a bunch of that today. So Mark, I have to ask you.
Can I add something? I just want to add something right there.
Go ahead.
It's really important. setting ground rules, right? Here's the ground rules, at least that when we're involved. It's about what you like. This is not a contest. This is about us learning from each other. Someone says, like a piece of art, oh my God, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. It wouldn't be $1. And the other person says, that's the most stunning thing. It reminds me of my childhood, and cries. They're both right. Okay. Same thing with wine. No one's right. No one's wrong. Someone may have spent 3 weeks in Portugal and you can learn from them. It's about sharing with each other, not being afraid to not know. There's no stupid questions. There's things you know I don't know. I'm making mistakes and learning every day. It's fascinating. But that's the joy of wine, is sharing it, not feel, at least for 20 minutes, let's not feel pressured. Ask the questions you want.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get questions. We actually already got our first question, which I'm going to let you briefly answer. And that is, Mark, awesome hat. Where can I get one? Somebody says in the chat.
I don't know, but when you find it, get me 50 more, because everybody says that to me. I got on the North Fork. I always try to sneak into the little shops and support the locals. They always have cute things in shops. I think this may have been at the shop across from the sandwich shop in Cutchogue on the main road. I forget the name of it. There's like a strip there with Sotheby's brokers and a hair cutter, a barber shop, and right there's like a gift shop. I think it was there.
We'll have to ask famous Cutchogue native Ron Gerler where exactly.
He'll know.
So listen, first question, Mark, what's in a name? Tell us, how did you choose the name Matabella for Matabella Vineyards?
Okay, so I'm from Miami Beach, born and raised in South Florida. My wife is from Long Island. Or she was born in the Bronx, but grew up in West Hampton and came out to North Fork as a child with her father or her family. So she's a local. And the name Matabella is actually a merger of our kids' names in Italian. So it's Matthew, which is Matteo, and that's why it's an E in the middle instead of an A. Matteo and Isabella. So Matabella, Matteibella. That's real simple.
That's great.
And it's their names merged. And the painting, you'll see the sketches on the labels, paintings of them when they're young. They're now in high school and college.
When was the winery established?
So we had our momentary lapse of judgment in 2005, and had a delusional moment, which changed our lives in ways we never imagined. Certainly, there's a ton of joy in there, but it's one of the stupidest, most delusional things of all time, following our passion. But Christine and I, my wife Christine and I, we're not big on dropping the ball and not seeing things through and doing well whatever we take on. So it's been a commitment. There's a lot of love in there, a lot of joy, a lot of fulfillment, but there's been an intense commitment to excellence and saying we're going to do this, so it's exciting. There's a lot of joy in there. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler, but this is my art form with wine.
So that leads to the next question, which was, when you started the winery in 2005, did you start from the beginning with a specific philosophy and approach in mind, or has that evolved and emerged organically?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
So it started delusionally. All right, I'm a full-time eminent domain trial lawyer with the law firm of Greenberg Traurig, okay, global firm doing nothing but eminent domain, fighting the government when they take private property. So that's my job. Full-time, I love it. I don't take away from it. My wife runs the vineyard, but in Matabella, it's my passion, so I'm like, we're going to go into this. Ron Gorler was the one who helped us find it. We were honored to know him and his father and learn a lot. They were one of the original founders. They still make some of the best wine out here. And it's like we were going to invest with them, and then said, wait a minute, if I'm going to do this, my wife and I are like, we're going to name it after our kids. We're going to make our own mistakes. We're going to do our thing, even though we would do a handshake deal with the Gerlers because they're top notch, personally and as a winery. But no, we wanted to make our own stupid, mistakes. You know what I'm saying? So we did it, and we pulled the trigger and had our delusional moment in 2005, and Ron helped us, and He was managing the vineyard. He knew about it. It wasn't on the market. So, I just kept begging my wife. She knew she's a lot smarter than me, and she knew it was a bad idea. But we ended up doing it and committed to excellence, and it's been quite a journey.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So listen, we're gonna, because it's Friday, we always do things a little differently on Fridays. We're gonna field a question in the middle of the stream here. And that was, somebody asked, what kinds of wines do you make there? And it kind of ties into my next question, which is, what are the most common grape types that you work with at the winery? What kinds of wines and what kind of grape varietals?
No problem. So succinctly, because each one of these topics, as we all know, you could drill down on a rabbit hole for a long time and it gets really interesting, okay? Including but not limited to the terroir, okay? And why things do well and why we work with it, that kind of thing. But I will tell you that the varietals we have, I'll back into it. Let me get to the varietals after I tell you the style we are after. Okay, we're proud that it's American, but every move we make, it's old world. We're not messing with stuff. We're not playing with chemicals. We're certified sustainable. It's clean. It's old school. It's timeless. We're careful. Low yields. That's overarching vineyard and winery principle.
And that's very important right now. There are so many people who are vegan, who are vegetarian, who eat only organic food. It's very important to emphasize that that's a distinction that you guys bring to the picture.
Yeah, we're certified. When you drill down into it, what my wife does is remarkable. I mean, seriously, she's so committed. It's beautiful. The gardens and everything, it's all by her. We didn't have a landscape architect. It's Christine. That's the landscape architect. Okay, so she's tenacious in the vineyard with low yields. We have very tight spacing, European spacing, so that if you do not, in a cool region, properly handle your canopy, look how beautiful that's handled. Look at that, okay? If you don't properly handle that, it shades the vines. It shades the grapes. Yeah. And then you got spotty fruit. It tastes like wet cardboard and it's green. So there's no cutting corners in the vineyard where great wine is made. And that's how we handle it. So having said that, they're Bordeaux blends on the red, classic Bordeaux blends, only French oak. And on the whites, it's Chardonnay. Occasionally, I'll buy from Ron when he has an outrageous batch of Riesling. I'll make a batch because I love Riesling, but I'll do a one-off. But our vineyard is Chardonnay, French clones of Chardonnay predominantly, and what we do is not over-oak them. So that's why I picked to make a message today, Steel Chardonnay as one of the wines. It's magnificent. It's a French clones of Chardonnay, but it's actually with Chardonnay. That's what you're drinking. That's the one you picked.
I got right here.
It is crisp and clean, so it's drinking. People mistake it in blind tastings for Sauvignon Blanc. It's the actual Chardonnay grape is gorgeous. But we'll get to that in a second. So we got Chardonnays at 3 levels: steel, no oak. We call one Matabella Familia, which is a Chablis style, 20% oak roughly. It's not formulaic, depends on the year. And then the reserve is stirred on the leaves a little longer, more oak age. Still only saw 50% oak. It's not all, so the oak is in restraint. All right, our wines have restraint. All right, and that's something we pay attention to. So it's Cab Franc. Merlot is the predominant red. Pomerol clones of Merlot from the right bank of Bordeaux, 181 predominantly, which is stunning. And Cab Franc and Cab Sauv is our red blend. So classic Bordeaux varieties on French oak.
So you're a pretty intrepid vineyard and grape grower in that you grow some Cab Sauv here in Long Island, because that's not the easiest thing to do. It's an easy thing to do in California with that climate, but this is a very different climate here.
So because this is how I handle it. That's a very narrow question. You're right on the money. I think it makes great rosé, actually, believe it or not. And I learned that from Eric Fry, and he's right. So in a bad year, you don't bring down everything around it. By blending it, we isolate it, okay? So when it's beautiful, it's beautiful. And when it's not, it's pulled off and not part of, because it's too finicky. And we don't do green. We don't do green. We
Right.
do sustainable green. We don't do green flavors. Okay, so
And it's
that's
notable. It's notable here. Not everyone in the audience knows this. Maybe some do, but most rosés are made from red wine grapes, where they leave the skins on for a short duration. It could be a day, maybe maximum two. Sometimes it's just an afternoon, and that's what gives the wine. It's not red color. It's not white color. It's in the middle. It's that pink rosé color.
right.
So
And
the
should be
Cabernet Sauvignon, if you left those skins on as part of in the process longer, you would have red wine. But in the case here, where you make rosé at times from your Cab Sauv crop, you're going to get that that skins in briefly and then out.
right on. 100%. Well, the only other way to add to that, to round out the education you just aptly relayed, is that there's also Sangay, which is like where they bleed. When you put in the tank, when you crush like red grapes, all insides of red grapes are white. It's only because of the contact after you pop it.
Yep.
That it gets in there, and out comes and also the tannins and some of these city outs also in the skins. But sometimes they do is they crush the grapes. It's getting the color, but what they really want to do is they want to increase the skin to juice ratio when you're making a red wine to make a more concentrated wine. So you bleed out of the bottom of the tank. You bleed out some of the white wine. So now the ratio of skins and what's in there is more intense. You get a richer wine and maybe in a lighter year.
Color. Yeah.
So that's how you do it. But that makes crappy rosé and great red wine, in my opinion.
Yep.
Okay, so we do it the old-fashioned way, consistent with our philosophy.
So now, when you look at this last 15 years of owning and running Matabella Vineyards, I have two questions, and then we're going to get to tasting. It's Friday, so I want people to have a chance to really get a sense of these wines as they head into the weekend. So first of all, I'm going to do the high-low. What was the lowest moment, the hardest moment in the journey, and what were the highest moments in the journey
Okay.
since you founded the winery?
So there's so many moments. There's been some intense moments, but I'd say the most profound, harsh reality moment of the whole thing, like our luck has it that the first year we bought our vineyard, it was a stellar year. Okay, it was in 1990, 2005. It was breathtaking. Okay,
Yeah.
it was truly, still one of the best wines you've ever made.
Lots of sun, lots of sunshine.
Our 05, our first wine got a 90 point from the wine inspector. People were like, who is this? Who are these people?
You
wrote us up in Ocean Drive
you
Wine
said to yourself, this is easy. We should
Who's this? No, yeah. And then 2006 comes, okay? All right. Crappy, shitty, rainy, muggy, wet, more rain, cold. Like, it couldn't have been worse. And there is no 2006 anywhere, okay? It's just done, right?
Yeah.
So we realized, we delusionally thought, what we're going to do? We're going to, grow awesome fruit for other people, be absentee owners. Someday, we'll retire and whatever our dream was, that was, that's not the way it rolled out. You can't make any money selling fruit. You're cutting checks when you sell fruit.
So you had a high-low in the first 2 years. Year one,
right there, boom, boom. Okay.
Was a high.
I had another high. Well, we didn't know it was a 90 point. We knew it was stunning. I was excited, but everybody thought I was crazy and just excited and enthusiastic. Right. But I knew. The reason why I got all excited about this is I went to the Jamesport Country Kitchen, this little diner, okay, with the nicest waitresses. I've been there forever. And I got the wine list, and I was ordering chicken pot pie, and I'm sitting in wine country. And this is like 2003 or not 2003, 2004, like roughly 2004 sometime, late 2004. And the wine they had on their wine list, they had like some old wines for $25. Okay, so for $25 with a chicken pot pie, I got a 1993 Lens. Okay, a wine that they made, Merlot, 100% Merlot. Okay, for Jamesport Country Kitchen's house wine. That was like 20 years old or 15, whatever it was, 15 years old for $25. It blew my mind. I bought all of what they had left. I bought 6 bottles. I brought it to different tastings of Parisian Somms. Every single person thought it was French. When I took the wrapper off, they freaked out. That's when I realized I'm doing this.
Right.
It's not like this can get there someday. I tasted it. Whoever did that at Lens, I can do that too. That's how this whole craziness started. Because one thing is like to dream about it. Another thing is to taste the Bordeaux wine. I had a skilled enough palate to appreciate that it was a gorgeous wine. It blew my mind.
Lens makes some really good wine. I'm going to give a program plug next week. I think Wednesday the 6th, Lens is going to be featured on this show. But they make some wonderful French-style, French-inspired wines at the Lens Winery.
Absolutely, they do. And we make some of our wines there. I work in collaboration with Tom over there. We make our whites and our rosés. You know, I make all the reds over on our property. But, you know, it works out great. It's a collaboration. And the reason why I'm willing to do it there is instead of buying $1 bazillion in equipment, they're old school. The way they are, they're old school, man. Eric still consults with me so I don't get over my skis. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I'm humbled by how much I don't know and excited about executing it with our philosophy, you know, so it's a balance.
So one more question, and then let's start tasting wines, because we have, I think, 5 wines to taste. So we need to carve out a little time here. How do you maintain the excellent level of quality and taste year after year at Matabella? Because that's something that I think you've really done certainly these last 5 years. You've really developed a consistent flow of some great selections.
Thank you very much. I take it as a compliment from you. And it's through a lot of hard work, and it starts with Christine on every angle, everywhere in the vineyard, okay? But the way we do it is, it's like any business in the earth. There's always a tempting cost cutting. Hey, we could drop more to the bottom line if we spray instead of labor for trim. Or if we get this machine, it's that. Or there's 100 different ways to cut corners. We don't play that. We just don't do it. And we go with low yields. So when you go with tight spacing and you maintain the vineyard properly, you have concentrated fruit and you properly handle the fruit, and you go at lower yields. You'd rather have higher quality and make a little bit less, particularly in the challenging years. So that's how we got our reputation, by not trying to BS our customers that, oh, this is great. No, it's not great. Okay. And we're not going to make Old World Blend that year. It's no. Okay. So it's not happening. There is no 06 Old World Blend from Matabella. Okay. But I'll tell you, it leads to one of my high points. Okay. I didn't answer the high point. I gave you the low. The high, one of the highs, I'm going to give you 3 highs, and then I'm going to pick our final high. I thought about that. One of the highs was when we got a 90-point score from Wine Spectator in 2011. I'm not bragging. You know me well enough. It's not.
That's a big deal.
It was the worst vintage. If you line up 100 people that have anything to do with Long Island wine and say, how was 2011? 100 of them are going to say it was the worst ever. Okay? We got a 90-point score. Why? Because my wife sat out there wet, cutting partial bunches. We ended up with like a fraction of what we made. And then when Parker gave it a 90, Mark from Parker, these guys, you know, he's very discerning, very sharp, you know, and he was like blown away by it. And he compliments. That was a high point to have someone that knows. It doesn't matter what the score is. It's about someone with that kind of skill, or you seeing or liking and getting that feedback. That feels better than some score. Yeah. You don't sell, you know, so.
Absolutely.
Anyway, the other high points I'll give you, a couple of them, was the blind tasting with a Parisian Somm once, where he was angrily swearing at me that our wine was French, and I was trying to mislead him in a blind tasting because he was humiliated when I took the level off, and he thought I switched the wine out. Okay, and it really was French wine inside my Long Island wine bottle. He thought I was lying in a blind tasting. Okay, that's how much he thought it was French, which I thought was hysterical. The 93-point score for the 2013 we're about to taste, from Parker, one of the highest ratings in the region. Again, I know what's even better is the stuff behind it. I'm not exaggerating. Swear to God, is better. It's off the hook on the 14th, 15th. So, and we're coming out with something new also that's in the pipeline. So the pipeline at Matabella is so exciting. I'm like a kid in a candy store. Okay. The number one thing, though, our number one positive, I would say.
Drum roll, please. This is
number one.
This is like Letterman. Number one.
The reason why it's great, the reason why it's number one is because it continually happens. So it's a blessing. All right. We are continually blown away and connecting with our customers where we get to meet the most amazing people. We don't advertise our wine club. It breeds quality people that want the authentic vibe, and then they bring such nice people. And when we connect with them, and Chris works so hard, and we have this perfect pairing, and it's this cheese from Europe that we know it meets the salinity of this one wine because of the region. We get a salinity in it, and it just tastes that salty, and it pops, and they light up, and they know they're not BSing. It's legit. That's it. So constantly the fulfillment. It's like I cooked it, works for 2 days on a meal, and everybody loves the meal. It's that feeling, it's that feeling is the high point.
It's their discovery moment is your high. All right. So we're going to, before we taste wines, we've got a bunch of questions today, Mark. Evidently you are fascinating. So people have got a lot of questions for you.
Don't talk to my wife.
First question, are you open now? This is somebody who missed the first few minutes of the broadcast. And I think the answer is
no problem. Let me give that. We're we are not open operating for people just to show up where they want. Consistent with the experience protection and efforts we make, that's just not generally a good idea. Anyway, you can always be spontaneous in Matabella, but you always end up with a more personalized situation by giving us a call. So if you go to matabella.com, or you can write this number down, 631-655-9554. That's the number, 655-9554 out at 631. And you can leave a message. You want to buy a wine, you want to call, you want to create something, you have a birthday party. It's always something like that. This is a fluid process right now. Right now, we're closed because we got to be careful. Okay. Yeah. But you can still get wine. You can still call the college. You can still set stuff up, and it's a fluid process. So we say that today. Yeah. But we know our vineyard, unlike almost every other vineyard, is almost all outdoors. So we have these little gardens and areas which are perfect for social distancing, 100%. But it's not like open, come when you want.
All right, Mark. 5:27 p.m. We got to start tasting here.
You got it.
So what are we starting with? What's wine number one?
Why don't we start with bubbly and celebrate that somehow in this coronavirus madness, okay, on the rosé. Let's just say there's silver linings in there. The glass is half full, and everybody's more connected. So let's just toast to this being better as a globe or something.
Okay,
right?
so I'm gonna talk for a second while you open that. Everybody, this is the rosé in the screen next to me. This is a sparkling rosé that Mark is opening and pouring. And Mark, tell us a little bit about this one. What are the grapes that make it up? And give us the tasting notes, and we're going to talk about a food that it goes with.
No problem. So this sparkling, all of our rosés, first of all, generally, again, consistent with our style, delicate, interesting, not overwhelming. Both of our sparklings, we have one sparkling rosé, dry, and one off dry. They come from two different fruits, but generally they're not overwhelming, okay? But the dry one is the classic French, dry, delicate style. Both of the bubbles in the dry and the off dry are delicate bubbles, not overwhelming. And when I say off dry, it's very subtly off dry. It is not a sweet wine. I can't get there. And it's just, what happens is you can elevate the sugar level or have residual sugar just to a point where it kind of changes the mouthfeel, makes it a little richer, a little rounder, okay, as opposed to super dry and stark, which is what I prefer. Now you got to just land on what you like, and it could be just based on what you're eating or whatever.
And when do you drink this sparkling rosé? Is this something to start the evening with, and maybe even include with dinner? Is it a cheese and crackers and charcuterie?
I love it. I love it as a start. I love rosé as a start. You always think it has to be a hot summer day. It really doesn't. You know how sometimes you just don't feel like a white wine, but you're not ready for your red yet. Just a nice, crisp glass of rosé for everybody to start. It just gets the palate ready. It's easy. It gets you into the reds, and if you don't want white, okay, I think that's a beautiful thing. Same with this. So it could be at the beginning. What's beautiful about our wines, we intentionally have them versatile. It's not so narrow, you know.
Yeah.
So this one, I would pair it with tons of chocolate. I would do it with chocolate. I'd pair it with chocolate with a little dash of some more chocolate. That's what I would do.
You had me at chocolate. All right. So can we move from this one? What is the second rosé that you're going to pour?
That's an off dry.
And
Mark, that's dry. That's a dry one. There's dry and off grade, same thing.
If I could get you to move that bottle because it's coming into your viewport there.
No problem. This is the same thing, the dry one. This is the dry one right here.
Yeah.
You see the color. You see it?
Beautiful.
Very delicate. Classic it's made from Merlot and Cabernet Franc. Okay, so it gets that floral thing going. I got a little bit of my steel Chardonnay, crisp, like super green apple, crisp and clean Chardonnay in here. A very little bit of it, but it's predominantly Merlot and a little bit of Cabernet Franc, where you get that floral. Like sometimes it'll throw off a spice note. And this
is a little drier than the first one.
Drier. Okay. It's bone dry. No, it's bone dry and slightly off dry. That's what we have. We don't have sweet. And this is like I would taste like wild strawberries. You know the difference between a wild strawberry and a regular strawberry? The wild is like that dusty outside. It's not that big red bright, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like a wild strawberry and a pink grapefruit, it tastes like to me.
Awesome.
And you know.
Now we will be talking about this momentarily, but people always want to know, and we've even had a couple of questions in the chat while we're talking here. Where do we get these wines? How can we get our hands on them?
Well, if you want to buy Matabella wines, I'd question your judgment. Okay, I think you guys need help. Now, the way to do it is the same thing: the telephone number or the website, and then just have a discussion with Dan or Christine. If you call 631-655-9554 or go to the website matabella.com, we'll get it. And you know we have a special little something for Sam's homies.
For my homies, for you peeps watching, what's that special something, Mark?
For you peeps. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get you to we're gonna give you 15% discount if you want to get together with a friend and share a case at our 15% discount. And we got to make it happy, this like isolation. So there's a couple, Mattebella wants to get like an assist for making you happy. Okay, so
we agree.
So if you're on this live cast.
Well, now people are going to see it.
If you let us know, you say
as well. They'll see it on demand as well on the website, but that's fine.
Yeah. If you're hearing this, you got to say to us that Matabella helped us in isolation.
There you go.
Okay. And we give 20%. And if you're in the 5 boroughs or Long Island, we will drop it to you for free.
So you deliver for free?
Yeah, we will drop it on their house.
Hold on.
Don't hug us.
Front door.
Don't hug us. Come to the vineyard.
Delivering for free?
Yeah. If you buy a case, you get 15% off, and we drop it to you because of the corona, and you can't hug us, but you got to visit us and give us that hug when you come visit us.
That's amazing. I love it. All right, let's move on to the Chardonnay.
Okay, so the Chardonnay, but seriously, you have that one in front of you, okay? This is what Chardonnay tastes like. I'm dying for people to taste this. The customers love this because there's no oak. It never saw a day in oak. So it's got like that green apple crisp, like you bite into an ice cold Granny Smith apple. That's what it feels like when you're tasting it. It's got natural acidity. We pick it a little bit early, so the fresh, bright acidity. It's got that salinity because the bay, everything's going through our vineyard, the way it's facing between the bay and the sound. It's very delicate. You can have it by itself. You can have it with white meats. You can have it with stinky cheese. And then my favorite to put it with, which I had it with last night. I had it with conch last night, but fresh seafood from Long Island's Bay. Okay, from the south. It's unbelievable. You know, the scallops, you know, the pecanic scallops in this, and there's 100 different ways to do this. But the fresh seafood and oysters and like you're sitting on some boat or by itself or white meats. It's
Excellent.
got the acidity.
I love it. All right, Mark, if you would, I'm going to get you to move that rosé glass for me. Excellent. All right, what's next? I think we're going
into familiar red wine. Now let me tell you about this one. This is like a very special wine. By the way, every one of my wines, when I'm bottling it, I'm at the end and I'm done. I'm like, you know when it happens. There's a moment for a winemaker when it's like, I'm so happy. There it is. You know, like I'm not messing. I am not touching. Either it's a cepage, you got the blend, whatever you're doing. There's a moment when you know it. Okay, and it's fascinating. But on this one, and every single wine, I think about what is the perfect dish in my head that I was thinking when this went into the bottle.
Literally, when you're on
one dish. If I gun to my head, one dish, you got to say it, Mark. It doesn't start hedging. Like, what's the dish, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one, the last one I'm going to go to, I'm sorry. The last one was local oysters.
Chardonnay.
With a mustard sauce, a cream sauce, not vinegar. I don't want vinegar.
Yep.
Local oysters with that steel Chardonnay, with like the local pecanic, with a delicate, not too pungent mustard sauce, okay, or mustard wine sauce, okay. This one was spaghetti bolognese with crusty. I love it.
My favorite
crusty bread. I know.
I think Dan dropped off a bottle for me. I'm gonna make spaghetti with meatballs.
Oh, you're gonna be so happy. This is screaming for that. So this wine is intentionally like mindful of my wife's history and heritage. I started making wine in the basement with a bunch of my wife's family in the basement in Quag. That's how it all started. And I was making some pretty shitty wine and it pissed me off. And I started making some better wine. And, but I learned from her family and so we made like, what they affectionately call Guinea Red. That's them calling it themselves. I'm allowed, I'm a transplant. I married into it. So I get
an honorary.
I get the honorary like rope to be able to say that. But
let
anyway,
let me show everybody this beautiful bottle here, because this is the Familia Red.
Yeah, Familia, and it's non-vintage. You will note there's no vintage, and the reason why is because my goal on this wine, and it's Christine's goal together, her in the vineyard handling it, and me, is that we're not going to bullshit our customers, and we're going to make spectacular wines at two different levels on red. And the lower one, this one is going to be such a damn bargain because we're going to put such gorgeous fruit in there, but we're going to blend it. We're going to keep back barrels from the last vintage and keep the base going, because the law is that you can only put you have to put 95% fruit from the vintage to advertise or put the vintage on a bottle. Right. That's the law. So we said, listen, at $20-something, do you give a rip what year it is? If it's delicious and a good value, like whatever. No. Okay, so we make this. This is like a pizza, pasta, cheeseburger, happy wine. You open it up on Tuesday, like awesome value. I think 20% of my best fruit, the stuff that would normally go to a world blend, and my wife gets pissed, and I elevate Familia. This has got a year and a half of bottle age. Yeah. We make big batches so it can rest. We believe in bottle age. You cannot underestimate bottle shock or bottle age. It's a big deal. And this is, so now, and it's consistent, non-vintage. By blending it so the base is consistent because it's from the last batch.
Yep.
Kind of like a dough, you know, kind of like a dough and the starter. You know, we just keep it going and it works out beautifully.
Great. All right, let's move on to the old world, and then we got a couple questions and we'll wrap. I do want to shout out on Virtual Day Trip to Wine Country. The best shipping deal we've ever had is today's shipping offer from Mark, which is free delivery basically in the New York Metro.
That's what we're trying to do, the right thing. We want you guys to learn about us, but don't order if you're not going to come visit. It's about the experience. My wife pairs, she makes homemade fig jam, homemade bacon jam. She pairs like little dishes. There's no comparison with sitting in the fig garden, hanging out and tasting our wines, a little glass and taste for your people, or lining up a table in the vineyards for a birthday and everybody meets and surprises someone. You know, there's things we can do to make it special. We like to personalize it. Then it gets real.
Yeah.
So
awesome. All right. So final wine is the
2013 Old World Blend. Old World Blend is our highest level. That's a picture of our children. Matthew and Isabella, a sketch from an artist in Spain that is very special. And he painted Bella was 2 and Matthew is 6 in that picture. They're now, Matthew's in college, graduating college, and Bella's graduating high school right now.
There you go.
There it is. The Old World Blend. Steve Brody. I saw something flash about Steve Brody. He's drinking the 15. That's, in my opinion, better than the 13, and that got a 93. And the 14, I mean, these wines, the ones that are in the pipeline, the wines that no one's had yet I haven't had them rated yet. I don't sit around waiting for ratings, you know?
All right, so Mark, this one, the Old World, what is the perfect food for right now in quarantine if you drink the Old World Blend?
Oh shit! Quarantine factor. You got to answer.
I told you I was going to hit you with that question.
I know, but I didn't know you were going to do it with the Old World Blend. I'm like worried about mac and cheese and Old World Blend. I'll start crying like a kid. No, I'm thinking like, okay, so let me answer it regularly, like the one I was thinking about when I bottled it, and then let me answer your question. Okay. Of all my wines, so on the Old World Blend, this bottle was a rack of veal with a fresh chanterelle, like demi-glaze, roasted rack of veal with a demi-glaze.
All right.
Okay, with wild mushrooms. Okay, that's this one. All right, delicate, rich, elegant, strong, powerful, kind of like I'd call it a iron fist with a velvet glove. It's like very elegant, but it's powerful.
So is it, would you call it Bordeaux style?
100%. All of our wines.
Bordeaux style.
Every one.
Yeah.
Every one of our wines that come out have restraint and have been made in the Old World style. I'm proud they're American, but I'm not going to stick my head in the sand and act like there isn't a lot to learn from Europe that's been doing this for hundreds of years, and have people that own like 4 plants on a row. Okay.
Hey man, I think you answered the question. Like it goes with a slightly finer meal, a little bit more refined, and it's got that Bordeaux nuance and smoothness.
Mushrooms, dark blackberries, mushrooms, rich fruit, chewy, but it's got lower alcohol. It's 12 point something alcohol. I don't go high alcohol. I pick it early so the acidity is natural. I don't play around. This is a blend of Merlot, Cabernet Franc, and Petit Verdot.
I'm just to be contrary, I'm going to screw up the computer and say, this weekend I'm setting up my brand new, I got one of these gas-powered pizza ovens that are put on the patio, and it's 1,000 degrees when it heats up. And I'm gonna make a very nuanced, elegant pizza in my new oven, and I'm gonna have the Old World Blend with it.
Really? You do put meat on it. Throw some meat on there.
I'm gonna put some meat on it. That's right.
Okay, that'll help you. But actually, let me tell you the answer to your question. Like, of all the wines I just went over, what's the good coronavirus like isolation, like go into your right?
Yep.
Okay. First of all, the first level of the question is, that's painful as hell for me to answer because I love everything. And I'm like, I hate making choices. But in honor of my wife's grandmother, Rosemary Glino, this is my selection. I know you guys have chicken frozen in your freezer. I know you have chicken breasts in that freezer, right? I would say a beautiful, crispy, proper texture chicken Milanese, chicken cutlets. You can make chicken cutlet sandwiches. You can make chicken cutlet meals with rice. You can keep it alone. Good chicken cutlet and that familiar red wine is what I would go with, or a cheeseburger.
That's
chicken cutlet or a cheeseburger, sliders or chicken cutlet. Take your pick. I'd pick chicken cutlet with familiar red with some sort of pasta, even if it's butter and parsley. Man, who cares? You know, and that's what I would pick out of the wines.
All right, we have a couple more questions, and then we're going to wrap. Mark, this has been amazing and totally fun. Tawana, who lives in Jersey, says, "What if you live in Jersey?"
Call the vineyard and find a friend in New York that you're going to go visit. Once you can go visit them, it'll be sitting at their house. I don't know about New Jersey. I don't remember. But we can't ship to there's some people that have laws, to some states that have laws from the prohibition area. They need to get their head together. But if we're not there, we're not going to violate the law. But we will work. Do me a favor, visiting, creating something, gifts, doing something creative, shipping someone something and handwriting a note for you, something special, sending them some fig jam and something in a wine with a personalized note, visiting the vineyard, doing some surprise. Call the vineyard or go to Inquiry, INQUIRY, inquiry at matabella.com.
All right.
Inquiry,
and we'll put this in the video on demand. We'll have an on-screen graphic with that URL.
I mean, that's the way to do it. A call or inquiry. I think inquiry, if you want to write, and then ask them to call you. We follow through. It's a fluid process. Anything Matabella, call us and we'll help you. We're going to make it work for you, and we want you to have that magical experience so that it grows with people that actually get it.
We had that same question from Liz in New Jersey as well, and I think for Liz and Tawana, the answer is we'll figure it out.
Nope. Call the vineyard. Tell them where you are. We'll have a solution. Give a call. Ask for Dan or Chris. 631-655-9554. 631.
Yeah. So Mark, we have the final question is a doozy. I mean, this is one of the greatest questions that we've had in our broadcasts, and it's terrific. Mark, name one wine to drink for the rest of your life.
Oh, jeez. That's well worded. That's like a lawyer. That's like a lawyer question. I hate lawyers.
I don't think this person is a lawyer, but anyway, I think it's a great question.
Well, it's a really good question because normally people say, "What's your favorite wine?" And you know what my answer is? The next one I'm going to drink is my all-time favorite. The next one. That's right. It's like an Easter egg hunt. It's like a big jury.
You got some favorites. You got.
All right, someone puts a gun to my head. Okay. I hate this question. This is bullshit, but I'm going to answer it. Okay. All right. Right bank of Bordeaux, Pomerol, Petrus, 61 Petrus.
61 Petrus, right bank, Pomerol. That's a pretty good answer. Well, Mark, we want to thank you so much for being a part of Virtual Day Trip to Wine Country. It's been amazing to visit with you and go to Matabella Vineyards virtually here. I think we all got a sense of what an amazing place this is, how beautiful it is. And we're all looking forward, and everybody watching is looking forward to when things start to open up and they can come to the vineyard and hang out with you guys and drink wine and buy wine to take home. So.
Oh, it's so nice. And let me tell you something. Remember I said it. You're gonna meet me, and when you do, or my wife, you're going to walk away and say, this is authentic. And I'm into the rush of you guys having a good experience. So just when it happens, that's part of my highs. You'll be part of the highs.
That's great. That's a great question. That's a great note to end on. And thank you again for being part of this.
Thank you for including us. Thank you so much, Sam.
And maybe next time we'll do another session where we pair a specific dish with a wine or two and have fun.
You know what I like to do? Let's do it where I do the blend. We could do something creative, but I got some ideas. But we could do something live and make sure that everybody has that wine.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like that one, so it's there, we deliver them, and we have a moment. And then it could be a real learning session if you want to drill down deeper on something, depending on the feedback you get, because we prefer to focus on things that everybody can learn from each other on and actually take it to somewhere else and develop your own personal taste, which is all that matters.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for including us.
Thank you, Mark. We'll see you soon. Stay safe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Take care.
Take care now.